Chapter 13. Flip the Switch. Trino stared down at Rosca with more hatred than he had ever felt in his life. All this time, he'd been silent about Rosca, saying nothing about Epifanio, telling Nick he didn't know him when Rosca jumped in at Parales. For what? Rosca had pointed the finger at Trino. He wanted to drag Trino along to jail, even though Trino had done nothing wrong, except for being stupid enough to think that he could trust Rosca to stay silent too. Trino looked at the police officer who was nearest to him. I was just standing by the wall. I didn't do anything. But you told me that your friend was dead. The officer who had been holding on to Trino forced him to turn around. Did you see him get shot and then run away? I was just standing by the wall. He slapped Rosca's bloody hand away from his legs. I didn't plan any of this, man. This job was your idea, Rosca. Rosca's voice grew louder. Don't you say nothing, man. I know where you sleep. If there was un malojo strong enough to kill, Trino knew it burned in his eyes. His whole face was hot with what he felt for Rosca. Never again would he let someone like Rosca run his life, or make him run away from the truth. You just shut up, man, Trino told Rosca. You got nothing on me, and if you show up where I sleep, I'll take care of what's mine. Just watch me. That's enough. The police officer roughly shook Trino's arm. I just want to know about the dead boy. What's his name? Do you know him? Trino nodded slowly, choking back that vomit taste again. I know him. He's my friend. Named Zipper. What about that kid over there crying? Do you know him too? The officer asked, motioning his head towards Rogelio. Trino paused before he said, Yes, I know him. He's a friend too. The police officer shook his head, then sighed. Kid, I think you need some new friends. He released Trino's arm and moved around to question the old man further. Trino felt forgotten, as everyone wanted to talk to the old man. He said he was the car wash owner and told stories about all the robberies and vandalism the past few weeks. How he was just protecting his property and himself. Moments later, Rosca was laid on a stretcher by the ambulance men. Rogelio was led away to the back seat of a police car. 2 more police cars pulled onto the car wash. Trino saw some boys sitting in the back seat. He couldn't tell if they were Rosca's 2 friends. 2 policemen took the car wash owner towards the cars. Trino guessed the man would start pointing at them too. No one cared about Zipper, it seemed. He lay a few feet from where Trino stood. Someone had covered him with a yellow cloth. Sorrow pressed upon Trino's entire body, making him shiver. His damp clothes clung to his skin like a layer of grease. He walked closer to Zipper's body and stared down. It could be me, dead, shot, crying in the back of a police car. Zipper man, I'm sorry. What could I have done to save you? Eventually, Trino ended up riding in a police car. The officer who had found Trino behind the wall said he needed to know where Trino lived, and that Trino needed to come down to the station in the morning and talk about what he had seen tonight. Trino said nothing during the ride home, just stared at dark streets and empty places he had walked with Zipper and Rogelio. Tonight, somebody had flipped the switch on all of them. All the lights were on inside the trailer where Trino's family lived. As soon as the police car stopped outside, Trino saw Nick's tall frame fill the door, then step out from behind it. Trino let himself out of the back seat as the police officer got out and headed for Nick. You Mr. Olivares? He asked Nick. No, he has no father. Nick's voice carried little emotion. His mother's inside with the other boys. Is Trino in trouble? Trino spoke up. I'm okay. I didn't get arrested or nothing. Trino was a witness at a shooting back on Templano Street, at a car wash. He knew some of the boys who broke into the machines. Can someone bring him downtown tomorrow so we can question him some more? The policeman asked Nick. Nick, what is it? Ay, 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 la policía! Trino's mom had come to the door and quickly pushed it out as she went from worried questions to a sudden anger. Trino, where have you been? What did you do? Haven't I got my hands full with Beto? Now I gotta go visit you in jail? How could you do this to me? She tried to grab Trino, but the policeman stepped between them. Senora, your son hasn't been charged with anything. We just want to question him downtown. Can you bring him to the station in the morning? Downtown? Ay, Trino, do I got time for this? His mom sighed loudly. Here I am with Beto so sick and just losing my job and Zipper's dead. He got shot at the car wash. Her eyes widened. Then she crossed herself and whispered, Ay, Dios mío. Trino got left alone after that. The police officer drove off, and Trino's mom stayed outside talking to Nick. All Trino wanted was a dry t-shirt in his bed. It'd be empty tonight, since Beto would sleep in his mother's room. Felix was asleep in his narrow bed near the closet. He didn't move or make a sound when Trino walked into the bedroom. When Trino finally lay in the bed, thinking of everything, he wished he could just turn his brain off with a switch. He wanted to wake up and feel like his old self again, only he couldn't stop thinking about Rogelio, who would wake up in jail. Zipper would never wake up again. Trino turned his back to the world as hot tears ran down his face and soaked into the pillow. Trino never knew when sleep finally came, but when he woke up, he felt like somebody had stomped all over him. He dragged himself off to the shower and let the hot water wash against his back and shoulders until he could somehow face the day ahead of him. First, he had to listen to Tia Sofia, who showed up to stay with Felix, Beto, and Gus, while Trino and his mom went downtown. I told your mother you'd get in trouble sooner or later. Was I wrong? Huh? Huh? He just ignored her and waited for his mother outside. He couldn't ignore the police officer who questioned him later, though. He had to answer their questions, no matter how dumb he thought they were. Actually, Trino felt like the stupid one. He knew nothing about Rosca or his friends except they all went to the same school, and he realized he should know more about Zipper or Rogelio except for their last names and where they lived. He could tell the police officer honestly that the guys had only planned to meet up at the car wash. He didn't know for sure what was supposed to happen after that. Trino's mother was quiet the whole time, except for a relieved sigh when the police officer told them that Trino was free to go, although he'd probably have to come forward as a witness when the case went to trial. It wasn't until they sat together on the bus heading for home that his mother spoke to him. I need to know something, Trino, just for myself. You told the police you were just standing by the wall, but you'd planned to meet them, right? Because of Beto, you were late. If not, you'd be in jail, or maybe dead. Am I right? Trino turned away to look out the bus window. Yeah. His mother said nothing for a long while. Then she put her hand on Trino's arm. It's been tough for us, Trino, she said. But I never did anything wrong to get money for my family. I scrubbed floors, washed down the neighbor's trailer, even dug holes and planted fence posts one time. You steal from people in this barrio and it only makes things worse for everybody. I mean, who isn't bad off? No one can afford to lose what little they got. Her words didn't miss their target. Trino listened. He even agreed with her. But it didn't change anything. Zipper was dead. His mother had no job, and when he got home, there would be little to eat. He still hated his life. Now he just hated it more. Tia Sofia had some caldo on the stove when they got home. Trino was glad to get the hot soup inside him, but he had to listen to his aunt and his mother talk as they ate some soup too. He ate as quickly as he could, but still there was his aunt telling stories about some primo who went to jail and finally got the death penalty. And he was only 25! Trino was so glad when his uncle showed up to take Tia Sofia home. Trino had been sitting on the sofa, trying to press the wheels of Gus's car back onto the frame, when Tio Felipe came into the trailer. He was a quiet man, not very tall, with bushy gray hair. He picked up Gus and kissed the boy on the face. He reached into his pocket and gave Gus some coins. Save some for your brother Beto. When he feels better, you go buy ice cream. After he put Gus down, Trino saw Tio Felipe lay some dollar bills on the table. He never even looked at Trino or nothing, just turned around and told his wife, "Let's go, Sofia." His uncle's rejection made Trino's throat tighten up. He'd always gotten along with Tio, but now the man wouldn't even speak to him. Things only got worse as the evening news came on their TV. Trino and Felix had been sitting on the sofa with a sniffling Beto between them. On the news, there were shots of the car wash and a quick look at Zipper's body covered by the yellow cloth. There was an interview with the car wash owner who said, "The boys would have killed me. I had to protect myself." Even the newsman called the boys neighborhood troublemakers, never mentioning Zipper's name. It was like Zipper didn't even matter. "How come you weren't on TV?" Felix asked Trino. "How come you're so stupid?" Trino responded. He got up and walked toward the door. "Where are you going?" his mom asked. She sat at the table cleaning beans and watching TV too. "I want you to stay home, Trino." "I just want to walk outside a while." "You'll just get yourself into more trouble. I'll turn on the TV tomorrow and see your dead body under a yellow cloth." Her words were worse than if she'd slapped him. Any thought of staying inside, trying to please his mom, suddenly disappeared. He had to get away from this place where everyone thought he was just like Rosca and the others. Trino kept walking out the screen door and slammed it behind him. He headed towards the tall tree beside the trailer and quickly climbed up onto one of its branches, finding a spot to rest his back against a thick trunk. He saw his mom walk out onto the step and look around. She glanced up and their eyes met, but she said nothing and went back inside. He sat there as a painful jab of loneliness took him off guard. What had happened to Rogelio? Was he still with the police? Would they let him come back to school? Rogelio looked so messed up last night. Whose words would he repeat now that Zipper was gone? Zipper. Zipper. What was it like to be dead? Did it hurt? Was Zipper all alone? Would he be a ghost now, or just nothing? Trino shivered, even though it wasn't cold, and tore off a leaf to rip up. He was tearing into his third leaf when the rumbles of Nick's car caught his attention. Nick stopped his white car under the tree and had just slammed the door when he spotted Trino sitting alone. "That's all I need. Somebody else to tell me what I did wrong, or just ignore me because I let him down. When someone's going to care about me, if I jumped out of this tree and broke my neck, would anyone care?" Nick looked up and spoke directly to Trino. "I want to talk to you about the job next week, and I'll get a stiff neck if I have to keep looking up into the tree. Will you come down?" Trino sighed loudly, then took his time about climbing down. He didn't really want to take the job. Right now, he didn't want to do anything. "Good to see you can climb a tree, Trino. I can send you up into some of the high branches I'm too big to stand on." Nick motioned Trino towards the car and then leaned against the fender. "This lady needs a couple of Spanish oaks cut down behind her business. One's rotting away and she's afraid it will fall on her store. The other needs some serious trimming. Figured if I can get another guy to help, I can get both trees done in one day." Trino shrugged his shoulders together, staring down at the gravel as he brushed one foot over the rocks and dirt. He couldn't think much about anything, except for Zipper and Rogelio. Trino, are you going to help me out or what? Nick's voice sounded impatient. Trino finally looked up at him. He only stared at the man. Talking just seemed to take too much out of him. He expected to see Nick get angry, but Trino got surprised. The man's eyes and mouth softened into a sympathetic expression. What happened last night was lousy, wasn't it? Nick shook his head. I'm sorry you had to see your friend get shot. It's a hard thing to watch at any age. Trino frowned at Nick. He didn't want this man feeling sorry for him. I'll help you cut down your trees. What time? Nick raised an eyebrow, then extended his hand. I'll pay you $20 for a good day's work. Let's shake on it. Trino hesitated before he took Nick's hand. It was larger, work rough. When they shook hands, the man's grip was firm and strong, not a painful squeeze like others made to show how bad they were. Trino liked the way Nick's respect made him feel. He remembered the last thing he told Rosca. I'll take care of what's mine. Just watch me. Trino looked into Nick's face as they released the handshake, and suddenly saw a good way to take care of what was his. Nick, any chance you could give me the $20 now? My mother needs money to buy Beto's medicine, and if you do this, I'll help you again, anytime. Nick scratched his jaw as he thought about Trino's request. Inside Trino, a rumbling sense of anticipation made his legs unsteady. He had never asked a man for money this way. Was he pushing his luck? Actually, I could use a steady helper, Nick said, but I'll have to try you out first. See if you can do the work. I can do it. Just watch me. Trino even extended his hand to Nick. Do we have a deal? Can I get the money from my mom? Nick looked down, but then took Trino's hand and shook it. I'll let you give your mother the money, Trino. I tried to give her a little money last night, but she wouldn't take it. This is a better way for everybody. He gave Trino a toothy smile that made Trino smile too. I like to see a boy who takes advantage of an opportunity to help La Familia, Nick said. But you gotta take opportunities to help yourself too. Not just in work, but stuff like school. So you won't just have to scrub other people's toilets for the rest of your life. This was the second time in weeks that he'd heard those words. That poet Montoya and now Nick. Scrubbing toilets sounded like about the worst job in the world. It's what his mother did. And Trino knew she wasn't happy with her life. There was much to think about as Trino followed Nick inside the trailer.